Great. Well, thank you for that wonderful introduction and the plug both for Oatley and for King's College. I should say, by the way, that when we put solar panels on the roof of the 15th century chapel, the Daily Telegraph did indeed have a meltdown. But the thing that we're most proud of at King's actually recently is not just the solar panels, but the fact we have an entrepreneurship laboratory, an e-lab, which is the first of its type in an Oxbridge college, and which is beloved by the kids because many of them do indeed want to become, all of you lot, successful entrepreneurs with giant ideas. And I'd like to start there because when people talk about giant ideas in a place like Cambridge, they tend to think about life sciences and computer sciences and deep tech and people staring at microscopes and that kind of stuff. They don't think about oat or Oatley and water. So I'm curious, what got you involved in Oatley? Because you joined as CEO when it was a pretty unknown vegan brand and really within a very short space of time completely transformed it. So what made you join and how did you do that?
Well, it was a job I didn't want.
You'd already been an entrepreneur for a number of years, hadn't you? We were
Yeah.
chatting over lunch.
Yeah.
You grew up in Sweden, didn't go to college, went off and created companies, some very successfully, some not so. And then the recruiter said to you, go run a vegan oat milk brand.
Which was a mission impossible, basically. You know, what I did as an entrepreneur, I sold my companies. I took, 5-year gap year, 5 years, and we traveled and we went to Costa Rica, and you see climate change firsthand. You see extreme drought, extreme rainfall, and what that does to people, what that does to animals and planet. I thought, well, when I go back to Sweden again, I want to do something good. I was just tired of this pure monetarian transactions, okay? So I went back to Sweden, and I invested in a bad company for some reason, but eventually exited that. And then I thought, I could be a great employee, and I just needed some vehicle to do some good. So I called my brother-in-law. I had no clue how to apply for a job because I'd never done it before. So he put me in touch with a recruiter. She showed me a folder. It was a picture of a factory, a picture of black and white. And I just thought, there's no way in hell I'm going to run a factory, and it seems to be a German or Dutch company doing cereals. I had this drive to do something good, and the mission was absolutely impossible because, after all, it was freaking oat milk.
Yeah.
It was uninteresting.
Oat milk was so uncool.
It was so uncool.
It was basically just
irrelevant, uninteresting in
vegans,
every aspect.
Yeah.
And my scope was to grow the company from $20 million US dollars back then to 50 million in 3 years. And without...
And that was when? When did you join? Because they now have about $1 billion of sales.
Yeah, so back it was 2012, late 2012. And
did you actually drink oat milk yourself?
No, but I was looking for I was searching. I've been searching for a product like that because I'm half Japanese. I can't drink milk. I never drank milk in that sense. So when I tried it, when I spoke to the founders about it, it was just a beautiful product that was maybe unknown to 99% of the population, but so completely relevant to 99% of the population.
So you found this oatmeal product, which worked for you because you couldn't drink normal cow's milk. You got intrigued by this. How on earth did you take this incredibly uncool, stodgy, factory-based oat milk product and turn it into a cool, hip must-have for consumers that ended up with you sitting in an oat field?
And it's so embarrassing. So sorry for that thing.
Have you shown that to your kids?
It was like $5 million down the drain. But probably the best investment we ever made in terms of marketing. Sorry, Gillian, the question was?
So basically, so how did you take this deeply uncool product and make it cool?
Yeah, so I think most companies that when I interact with companies, they need a brand. They don't understand the work it takes to create a brand. So the first thing you need to have is a purpose. And I think that's what's so beautiful about what you're creating here and the people that you are, that we are gathered around ideas and purpose. A purpose, I can't enough emphasize the importance of having a reason to exist. Like, what gives you the reason to like, what gives you the right to exist as a company? What good do you bring to the world? Beyond creating monetary shareholder value, you know? So to define and articulate that purpose is absolutely instrumental to create a brand or a culture. And beyond that, the power of having a purpose, the energy that it brings, the clarity, the alignment that it gives, and how much easier it is to make business decisions in a complex world. That is what a purpose does. And without that purpose, it's hard to create anything. And it's not, guys, it's not about, why don't we make blue socks instead of red socks? Well, you know, that's not a solution, you know, that's just an opportunity. So that was the number one thing. The other thing, obviously, you need a culture. And I knew that if you want to change the world, I needed fearless culture, people that were devoted, passionate, wanting to wake up every single day to win that day. Treat every day as a playoff game. And when you meet companies, you always hear, you know, complaints about HR department not nurturing the culture. And you know what? It's up to you as a leader. The way you bring energy into your organization, the visions that you have, the way you treat people, the way you speak with people, and maybe more importantly, how you listen to people, right? That's you. You gotta invest in that. So those are a couple of things that are really important in order to generate that type of growth.
But I'm curious
success.
because, you know, the most remarkable thing about Oatley is that you have exploded the sales and revenues, not so much by persuading consumers that they want to be green or go vegan, but by making oat milk seem cool and trendy.
Yeah.
I know that from my own teenagers, that, you know, when they go into, you know, a coffee shop now, they always say oat milk first.
Yeah.
And I'm curious, you know, how did you see that vision that oat milk could actually go from being more than just green and weird into being cool and trendy? And what does that mean about anyone else who's trying to sell green products with a sense of purpose today?
Well, there are a lot of food tech companies out there, but what you got to understand, the reason why you want to have a brand is that you need to have that emotional connection with people. So if you want to have a brand, you better understand people. You need to tap into the pop culture, the cultural understream, whatever, in order to be part of people's lives. So the expertise around understanding people is instrumental. And a brand, you got to look at a brand as a person. And if you go to a cocktail party and you would just hang out with somebody who would only brag about how good they are or how good they look or all the amazing stuff, that's pretty boring. You wouldn't invite that person to the next party. Yet that is somehow how companies are approaching marketing, you know? So it's boring and it's not real. It's not authentic. You better talk about, well, of course, the good you do, but also the flaws you make. And a brand is also a voice that is distinct, recognizable, that stands for something. And when you stand for something, you're going to get haters. Yeah. So I know love and hate is like those are strong words, but in order to get loved, you need to be hated. And you need to embrace that. And there's a lot of magic things happening in friction. And the way we got about it, I don't know if you know, but because we had haters, we just gathered all the negativeness around the company into one web page. The horrific things that we did, the scandals, the mistake in one page called fuckoatly.com. And you go through all these items and you scroll down at the bottom. You can click on a button and it says like, I confirm that I hate Oatly. And you click on that, you go to fuckoatly.com. There's another bunch of stuff, and when you go through that page, you have to confirm that you really, really, really hate Oatly, and you come to fuckoatly.com. I only think we have 3.
And how many people clicked onto that?
I don't know, but you know, you turn something negative. You know, it's a very transparent way of exposing yourself, first of all, and you make fun of the haters, sort of. But it's generated a lot of interest, it did.
So how much of that was you and your vision for how to do PR in a pretty counterintuitive way? Or how much was this the fact that you just hired a bunch of brilliant PR people and marketing people who told you how to do that? I mean, were you the one who dreamt up the idea of you sitting in a field playing the piano?
No, that was absolutely not me. I had no desire to play piano in a field and had to have broadcast.
Or sing, yes.
No, there's no
So
way.
was that the question, that you hired, countercultural marketing people? Was that the
Yeah, and
key
marketing
step?
probably is like, it's more about understanding people and putting like creativity in the center of things. And I say that because it's also how you want to create value in the company, right? There's a reason why Oatly has the highest velocity in the industry, highest rotation of the product with 20-30% price point, like higher price point and lowest amount of promotion. There's a reason for it that goes beyond the product. It's a brand. So you want to generate a certain type of value in the company, and you need creativity is something proprietary. It's something that you can't copy. It's something that is really hard to compete
So you're
against.
trying to build the culture inside the company and then that
Put
flower.
creative people in places where they did not belong. Like
So the fuck idea was not yours. It was someone you
I
introduced.
tried to stop it because we're a public company, and there you get all of a sudden from becoming fearless, you get scared shitless, of doing things. But eventually we let that pass because it's good. It is ultimately good, but it's born out of the two things. One is the purpose that you have as a company. You want to change the world. You pick your enemies and you pick your fights. And also the way that we want to be transparent. We want to create the most transparent company in the world. And if you go to webpage, you can read about the good things about the product and also some of the less good things about the product.
So I have two questions. One is, we have been through pretty recessionary times. There's a lot of squeezes on consumers right now. Do you think they're going to carry on paying up for premium green products? I mean, your product costs more than dairy.
Yeah.
Do you think they're going to carry on paying for that?
No. Sustainability is for the privileged. In consumer space, it is. It's more expensive. Mm-hmm. And either two ways. Either you lower your margins, okay? And that comes with probably losses. And you got to have shareholders that accept losses, okay? Or you sell it at premium price and you make money and you keep it for the privilege, and which is not how you create change, really. So if you look at sales multiples, there are a lot of investors. You have sales multiples, you have EBITDA multiples, but there's not a thing called like doing good multiple. We're missing that in the equation. We're missing that because you should also be measured in the goodness you bring to the world. But there's nothing like it out there. So I think there's a glitch.
So given there is that glitch, at the end of the day, do you think we're going to change consumer behavior just with a bunch of incredibly trendy countercultural marketing and targeting the elite consumers? Or are we going to have to basically get governments involved to have meaningful change? I mean, it's a polite way of asking. Oatly's incredibly inspiring as a story of countercultural marketing, but is it just kind of irrelevant to the overall green fight?
I just want to add that it's marketing, but the marketing could never have happened without a purpose and the science behind it. That's the only reason we could create a brand.
Right.
And you're absolutely right. We need politicians. We need like tough decisions. We need to be decisive. We're nowhere close to where we need to be, and that's just a fact. Because if it's about being elected or re-elected, it tends to get populistic and opportunistic instead of making the decisions that we need to make for people and planet long term.
Right.
So you need politicians stepping up, and I'm not a notch, like massively, to get us on track on where we need to be. The former Secretary General of United Nations, Ban Ki-moon, once said, which you probably know, something like, we're the first generation who understands the magnitude or the impact of climate change and what that does. And we're also the last generation to do anything about it. And we're not doing enough about it.
Right.
So yes.
So you've now stepped down from Oatly. We've got about 42 seconds left. You're going to tell us what
that's
you're
what it is.
Yeah, that's what it is. Exactly. Tell us what you're going to do next. Are you going to become a politician? Do you see another product
I'm
which is
going to
about
retire.
to be...
I'm just going to enjoy. Like I'm soon going to die, so I'm just going to die. Enjoy the last 15 years that I have left. And
Well, I think if you've been drinking oatmeal, you have more than 15 years left,
we'll
for sure.
see. Thank you, Gillian.
But you don't see the next big product that's ripe for turning a boring, stodgy product into a sexy new...
But there are a lot of things. We're going to hear a lot about them today, hopefully, and a lot of you guys are going to bring that in life. So I'm just rooting for everybody, and I'm not giving up. I'm not that optimistic about things, but I'm, just for the sake, just for our children, and grandchildren.
Well,
it's our duty to just keep up.
I kind of have a feeling you're not going to stay in retirement for that long.
You have to be disciplined.
In the meantime, let's hear it for the joys of sitting in a cornfield and singing.
Thank you.